How long should your phone last? Let's talk about it. The longevity of your phone is based on two things. We are going to be talking about the batteries and the performance. With the performance, we'll talk more about the CPU as compared to the GPU. With the CPU being the central processing unit, which is like the brain of your mobile phone. When you get your phone new, fresh out of the box, you realize opening apps are snappy, scrolling through social media, and doing any other thing is smooth and battery. But as time goes on, you realize some lags, and previously you used to get a full day battery life from your phone, and now you need to charge your phone more frequently. And even at the worst case scenario, you'd have to carry a charger around anywhere you go. That could be a headache sometimes. If you are seeing these signs, these slowdowns and these battery issues, then you should know your phone battery is degrading. With the performance of your phone, we're talking more of the CPU, obviously. So with the CPU doesn't degrade as compared to a battery. The only difference here is that the CPU is actually the workload of the CPU that increases with time. CPUs are always as they are since you got the phone, and nothing changes about the CPU. The only thing that changes here is actually the workload of the CPU. Ever notice that games tend to become larger in file size after any updates? That is actually giving more work to the CPU to work with. Let me give you an example. So let's say you have a game which is 100 megabytes and it takes your CPU 5 seconds to open that game and you have no issues with it. And now a new update of that game has been released. And now the file size of that game is actually 1 gig, or let's say 200 megabytes. And now it's going to take more time for your CPU to open that app and even run the new processes that has been implemented by the developers. The game developers are always pushing our CPUs and GPUs to their limits. They're always trying to find new ways to make the games more involving to the player. So by doing so, a CPU that was launched in, let's say, 5 years' time would have difficulties keeping up with modern games in 2023. A 2018 CPU is going to have issues running a 2023 game, since now the game size is more larger and it's even requiring more new processes and new resources to run such a game. Let's move to the batteries. Just like the CPUs, they contribute to the longevity of your phone in a very, very crucial way. But unlike CPUs, batteries can always be swapped out. But with the CPUs, they are glued or soldered to your motherboard, which makes it difficult or unethical. You can't even change your CPU in your phone. Let's get back to the batteries. Most batteries that are being used by smartphones are actually lithium-ion batteries. And by design, lithium-ion batteries degrade with time, even if they are not being used. Until we find new ways and new technologies to make our batteries better, we are stuck with the lithium-ion batteries. For now, let's talk about the battery cycle. Yes, this is a very important thing. So a battery cycle simply tells or shows you the charge and discharge of your battery. So let's say you charge your phone to 100% and you discharge it to 50%. That is half a battery cycle. And you charge it back to 100% and you discharge it back to 50%. You have completed one cycle. If you charge your phone to 100% and you discharge it totally to 0%, that is still one battery cycle. So it just adds up to you getting 100% in a particular way. With the release of iOS 11.3 way back in 2018, Apple introduced a new feature called the battery health. So the battery health simply indicates exactly how well your battery has held up or degraded between charge cycles. I explained the charge cycles earlier in the video, so in case you skipped it, you should go back to it. So obviously, as I said earlier, as time goes on, your battery degrades even if you are not using it or it's not even in use. So this iOS feature Apple introduced simply tells you how well your battery has held up with time, and it is actually measured in percentages. So when you get your battery fresh out of the box, it's at 100%, and as you continue to use it with time, it gradually decreases. So you might think when you get it fresh and your battery health is at 100%, that is actually the best and optimal state, which wouldn't interfere with your usage or anything. But Apple says your phone's battery only needs to be replaced, or it actually affects your performance only when it's 80% and below. So you'll be running at full and at the best performance of your device, even at a battery health of 85, 84, 89, anything above 80%, it's still optimal and good for your performance. So you notice I've been saying performance for a while now. Well, with iOS or with Apple devices, your battery health is closely tied to your performance, unlike Android phones. See, as your battery health drops, when it drops to below 80%, you begin to notice some performance drops and a few lag in your device. It's a different case for Android devices. With Android devices, no matter how bad or how degraded your battery is, you always run at a peak performance, and that also has a toll on your battery. So let's talk about a few ways to keep your phone in good shape for a longer period of time. Let me show you how to check your battery health on iOS. That is, simply go to settings, you scroll down to battery, you select battery health and charging, then you select maximum battery capacity, and that's your battery health. So the higher the number, the better, and you only notice significant performance drops or lags when your battery health hits 80% and below. At that point, your battery shows a service mark, just like mine is showing you. And tell me your battery health down in the comment section below. Don't be shy. Let me give you 5 battery tips to help maintain your battery, keep it in a good shape for a longer period of time. So tip number 1, do not charge your phone while using it. See, most people, when they do that, it means they are actually on social media, watching videos and scrolling, or actually playing a mobile game. See, these activities are graphic intensive and demand more power and work from the CPU, especially when you are playing mobile games. And doing so, it generates a lot of heat, and heat is very bad for your battery. Tip number 2. So obviously, keep your battery or your phone from extreme temperatures or high temperatures, since heat degrades your battery faster and it kills most of the cells in your battery. Tip number 3, to use the recommended charging cord and charging brick. So since most companies do not ship phones with charging bricks again, but with the cords, this is to tell you how important the cord is, the charging cord is. The charging cord is like a bridge between your charging brick and your mobile phone, and your charging cord simply regulates the flow of power from the charging brick to your phone. So I might say you could cut corners when it comes to the charging brick, but do not cut corners with the charging cord. This is so important. That's why phone manufacturers always ship it with their phones. Tip number 4, avoid charging your phone to 100% and especially discharging your phone to 0%. You should always charge your phone whenever it notifies you, especially at the 20% mark or the 10% mark. See, when you discharge your phone to a 0%, you are actually damaging the battery, since it now actually needs more power to even wake it up and even continue to charge. Do not discharge your phone to a 0%. Always charge it when it's at the 20% mark or 10% mark. Always seek service repair from a certified shop or dealer. See, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos where most people try to cut corners especially when they are trying to resell their phone or trade it in. So most of them, they try to find other ways just to boost the battery health of their mobile phones, to make it more valuable on the market. Do not cut corners. Always seek repairs from a certified shop or dealer, which is recognized by the manufacturer of your phone. For a bonus feature, let's talk about optimized battery charging. So optimized battery charging is a feature which also helps maintain your battery. It was released not long ago from Apple, and all it does is that it learns your charging patterns and your charging cycles, and it tries to know you better. See, when you charge your phone to 100%, it also affects your battery health in a bad way, but it's quite slow. So all this feature does is that, so let's say you have a routine where you charge overnight, or you go to bed at 6 o'clock and you charge your phone and you wake up around 12 o'clock to start using it. So as you continue to do this with time, your phone learns these patterns and it always keeps your phone at an 80% mark when you are about waking up. So let's say you sleep around 6 and you wake up around 12 o'clock. So it will charge to about 11:30. We will put it at the 80% mark, and as you're about to wake up, it just quickly charges it to 100%, since it knows you wake up around that time to pick it up. So this is to tell you that charging your phone frequently to 100% is not good for your battery health in the long run. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Tell me what your battery health is. That's for my iOS users, of course. Sorry for my Android users.